Hello there. It's time to rest now. Time to let your body get comfortable and your mind get quiet. Tonight, I'm going to tell you 5 more Jataka tales. These stories are about wisdom and foolishness, about learning to think before you act, about listening to good advice, and about understanding that sometimes the smartest thing to do is wait, or ask for help, or admit when you're wrong. In these stories, the Buddha lived as different creatures: a tortoise, a merchant, a monkey, a buffalo, and a rabbit. And in each life, he learned something important about how to live wisely. You can close your eyes if you'd like. You can snuggle deeper into your blankets. You can let your breathing slow down and become soft and easy. These stories are here to help you rest. If you fall asleep before they're finished, that's perfect. The stories will still do their gentle work, helping you drift into peaceful dreams. Let's begin with the first story about a tortoise who talked too much. Long ago, in a beautiful lake surrounded by tall reeds and lotus flowers, there lived a tortoise. He was not a young tortoise. He had lived in this lake for many, many years. He knew every corner of it, every rock, every plant, every fish. But the tortoise had one big problem. He loved to talk. He talked constantly. About everything. About nothing. He gave advice no one asked for. He told stories that went on and on. He interrupted. He argued. He just couldn't seem to keep his mouth closed. Most of the other creatures in the lake avoided him. Not because he was mean, but because once he started talking, he never stopped. One year, something terrible happened. The rains didn't come. The lake began to shrink. The water level dropped lower and lower. The fish grew worried. The frogs hopped to the edges, looking for other places to go. But the tortoise couldn't leave. He couldn't walk far on land. He needed water to survive. One day, 2 geese landed on what was left of the lake. They were migrating south, looking for a place to rest. The tortoise swam over to them immediately. "Welcome, welcome. You must be tired. Long journey. Where are you from? Where are you going? This lake used to be much bigger, you know. I remember when it stretched all the way to—" "Excuse me," one of the geese interrupted gently. "We're traveling to another lake, a much larger one. It never dries up. We're going there for the season." The tortoise's eyes lit up. "A lake that never dries up? Oh, I would love to see that. I've been here my whole life. I've always wanted to travel. Tell me, is it far? What's it like? Are there fish? Are there—" "It's not far," the other goose said. We could take you there if you'd like." The tortoise stopped mid-sentence. "Take me, but I can't fly. We've done this before," the first goose explained. "We find a strong stick. You hold the middle with your mouth. We each take one end in our beaks. We fly together, carrying you." The tortoise was so excited he could barely contain himself. "Oh yes, yes. When can we leave? Should I pack anything?" "Wait, I don't have anything to pack, but still, this is amazing. I'll finally get to see the world. There's one very important rule," the second goose said firmly, looking the tortoise in the eye. "You must not speak. Not one word. If you open your mouth, you'll let go of the stick, and you'll fall." The tortoise nodded enthusiastically. "I understand. I won't speak. I promise. I can be very quiet when I need to be. Well, not usually, but this is important, so I'll definitely—" "Starting now," the first goose said. "From this moment, you must be silent." The tortoise clamped his mouth shut. They found a strong stick. The tortoise bit down hard on the middle. The 2 geese took their positions, each holding one end, and they flew. It was incredible. The tortoise had never been in the air before, had never seen the world from above. The lake grew small beneath them. The forest spread out like a green blanket. Rivers wound like silver ribbons through the land. The tortoise wanted so badly to say something, to point things out, to express his amazement, to tell the geese how grateful he was. But he remembered. He kept his jaw clamped tight on the stick. They flew for a long time, over forests, over fields, over villages. As they passed over one village, children playing in a courtyard looked up and saw them. "Look," one child shouted, "a flying tortoise." Other children came running. They pointed, they laughed. How is that possible? Maybe he's magic. Maybe the geese are carrying him. No, look, he's holding a stick. The geese are helping him. Ha, what a silly tortoise. He can't even fly by himself. The tortoise heard every word, and something inside him bristled. Silly? Silly? I'm not silly. This was my idea. Well, not exactly my idea, but I agreed to it. I'm brave. I'm adventurous. The words built up inside him like pressure in a sealed pot. The children kept laughing, kept pointing. What a ridiculous tortoise. That was too much. The tortoise opened his mouth to yell back, to defend himself, to tell them he wasn't ridiculous at all. I am not. The stick fell from his jaws, and he fell, fast, tumbling through the air, the ground rushing up to meet him. The geese cried out. They dove after him, but they couldn't reach him in time. He hit the ground, not on grass, fortunately. He landed in a rice paddy, in soft mud. His shell cracked, but not badly. He was hurt, but alive. The geese landed beside him, their faces full of sorrow and frustration. "We warned you," one said quietly. "We told you what would happen." The tortoise lay in the mud, in pain, far from the lake that was drying up and far from the lake that never dried. "I know," he whispered. "I know. I couldn't help it. I had to respond. I had to defend myself. And now you're here," the other goose said, not unkindly, "unable to reach either lake. Because you couldn't stay quiet." The geese flew away. They had a long journey ahead of them. The tortoise stayed in the rice paddy for many days, healing slowly. Eventually, some kind farmers helped him to a small pond nearby. It wasn't the beautiful lake of his youth. It wasn't the magical lake that never dried up, but it was water, and it was enough. For the rest of his life, the tortoise remembered that day. Every time he felt the urge to speak when he should stay quiet, every time he wanted to defend himself when it didn't matter, every time pride made him want to respond to foolishness, he remembered the stick falling from his mouth, the ground rushing up, the lesson learned too late, and sometimes, not always, but sometimes he stayed quiet. Now the second story begins. This one is about a merchant who was also very wise. In a city in ancient India, there lived a merchant. He wasn't rich yet, but he was clever and hardworking. He was the Buddha in another life, learning about patience and planning. One year, there was a shortage of goods in a neighboring kingdom. They needed cloth, spices, tools, things that were plentiful in the merchant's city. This is an opportunity, the young merchant thought. If I can bring goods to that kingdom, I can sell them for a good profit. But there was a problem. Between his city and that kingdom was a desert, a vast, hot, dangerous desert. It took weeks to cross, and many caravans had been lost in the heat. The merchant thought carefully. He planned. He prepared. "I will cross at night," he decided. "We'll travel when it's cool. We'll rest during the day. We'll bring plenty of water, and we'll hire the best guide we can find." He found a guide who knew the desert well, an old man who had crossed it many times. "I will lead you," the guide said. "But you must trust me. You must follow my instructions exactly. The desert is not forgiving." "I will," the merchant promised. They set out. The caravan was large, many carts, many animals, many men. They traveled at night, following the stars, guided by the old man who seemed to know every dune, every landmark, even in the darkness. They rested during the day, setting up tents, staying out of the sun. It was hard, it was slow, but it was working. Then, one night, something changed. They had been traveling for 2 weeks. They were close to the end of the desert. Just a few more nights and they would reach the kingdom. The guide was sitting at the front of the caravan, as always, showing them the way. But he was old. He was tired. And that night, just before dawn, he fell asleep. The men driving the lead cart didn't notice right away. They kept going, following what they thought was the right direction. But they were wrong. They had turned slightly. They were going back the way they came. When dawn broke and everyone woke up, the merchant looked around. Something was wrong. The landmarks looked familiar. Too familiar. "Stop," he called. "Stop the caravan." He ran to the front. He woke the guide. "Where are we?" The old guide looked around. His face went pale. "We've turned around," he said quietly. "We've been traveling back toward where we started." The men heard this. They panicked. "We're lost. We'll die out here. We've wasted our water." The merchant held up his hand for silence. "How far back did we go?" he asked the guide calmly. The guide calculated. "Maybe 4 hours, maybe half the night." The merchant nodded. He was scared too, but he didn't show it. He was thinking, "Here's what we'll do," he said. "We'll rest here today, in the shade. We'll save our water. Tonight, we'll go back over the same path, retracing our steps. We'll find where we made the wrong turn. Then we'll continue forward." "But what if we run out of water?" someone asked. "We won't," the merchant said. "Not if we're careful. Not if we stay calm." That day was hard. Everyone was frightened. The heat was terrible. But they stayed calm. They trusted the merchant's plan. That night, they traveled back carefully. The guide, now fully awake and alert, found the place where they'd turned wrong. "Here," he said. "This is where we went off course." They corrected their direction, and they continued. 3 nights later, they reached the kingdom. They had made it. The merchant sold all his goods. He made a great profit, but more importantly, he had kept everyone alive. He had stayed calm when others panicked. He had thought clearly when it would have been easy to give up. The Buddha, in that life, learned something important, that wisdom isn't just about knowing things. It's about staying calm when things go wrong. It's about thinking instead of panicking. It's about trusting good advice and correcting mistakes instead of giving up. Let's breathe together for a moment. In slowly and out slowly. Good. The third story is about a monkey who couldn't wait. In a forest near a river, there lived a troop of monkeys. They were happy, playful, always swinging through the trees, chattering and playing games. But one young monkey was different. He was the most impatient creature anyone had ever seen. If he wanted something, he wanted it right now. If he was told to wait, he couldn't. He would bounce around, complain, try to rush things. One day, the troop found something wonderful, a tree full of mangoes. But these mangoes weren't ripe yet. They were green, hard, sour. They needed more time in the sun to become sweet and soft and delicious. The old leader of the troop, who was wise and patient, told everyone, "We will wait. In 1 week, These mangoes will be perfect. We will come back then." All the monkeys agreed. They marked the tree and moved on to find other food. But the young, impatient monkey couldn't stop thinking about those mangoes. A whole week? That's so long. Maybe they're already ripe enough. Maybe just one would be okay to eat now. The next day, when the others weren't watching, he snuck back to the tree. He grabbed a mango. It was hard. He bit into it anyway. It was terrible. Sour. It made his mouth pucker. He spat it out. Maybe another one is better, he thought. He tried another, just as bad. He tried 5 more, all sour, all awful, but he'd already picked them. He couldn't put them back, and there were only so many mangoes on the tree. When the week passed and the troop returned, they found that half the mangoes were gone, and the ones that remained, they were perfectly ripe, sweet, delicious. The old leader looked at the young monkey, whose face was guilty. "You couldn't wait, could you?" The young monkey shook his head, ashamed. "And how did those unripe mangoes taste?" "Terrible. And now there are fewer ripe mangoes for everyone." The young monkey understood. His impatience hadn't just hurt him, it had hurt the whole troop. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. The old leader wasn't angry. He was kind. "Some things need time," he said gently. "Fruit needs time to ripen. Skills need time to develop. Understanding needs time to grow. If you try to rush everything, you end up with sour fruit and disappointment." The young monkey never forgot. He was still energetic, still playful, but he learned to wait when waiting mattered. He learned that patience isn't boring, it's wise. The 4th story is about a buffalo who knew how to be patient. In the same forest where the impatient monkey lived, there was also a water buffalo. He was large, strong, calm. He spent his days in the river, cooling himself, eating the plants that grew along the banks. All the other animals liked him because he was so peaceful. He never fought, never pushed, never demanded. One dry season, the river began to shrink. Water became scarce. All the animals needed to drink, but there wasn't enough space at the water's edge for everyone at once. The deer wanted to drink. The monkeys wanted to drink. The birds wanted to drink. Everyone crowded around, pushing, shoving, arguing. I was here first. No, I need it more. Get out of my way. The buffalo watched all of this quietly. He was thirsty too, very thirsty. The heat was terrible. His throat was dry, but he waited. He stood under a shady tree, patiently, while the other animals argued and pushed and drank. Hours passed. The sun moved across the sky. The other animals finished drinking and wandered away. Finally, when everyone else was gone, the buffalo walked to the river. It was quiet now, peaceful. He waded into the cool water. He drank slowly, deeply, calmly. A young deer, who had come back for a second drink, saw him. "Why did you wait so long?" the deer asked. "You're bigger than all of us. You could have pushed to the front." The buffalo looked at him with kind eyes. "I could have," he said, "but then I would have been part of the fighting, part of the anger, part of the chaos." He took another slow drink. "By waiting, I got what I needed, and I kept my peace. Sometimes the patient ones get exactly what they need, just a little later than everyone else. And that's okay." The deer thought about this. The next day, when the animals crowded around the water again, the young deer remembered the buffalo's words. He waited too. And when his turn came, he drank in peace. One last story now. This one is about a rabbit who was very clever. In a forest near a village, there lived many animals. Deer, monkeys, foxes, birds all living together, mostly peacefully. But one day, something frightening happened. A lion moved into the forest. He was old, too old to hunt properly, so he came up with a plan. "I am too old to hunt," he announced to all the animals. "I am dying. I would like to see each of you one last time before I pass away. Come to my cave to say goodbye." The animals felt sorry for him. Despite their fear of lions, they felt compassion. One by one, they went to his cave, and one by one, they never came out. The lion was eating them. It was a trick, a cruel trick, but it was working. After a few days, it was the rabbit's turn. He was expected to visit the lion's cave. The rabbit was clever. He was the Buddha in another life, learning about using wisdom to protect others. He approached the cave slowly, carefully, and he looked at the ground. There were tracks everywhere, footprints of deer, monkeys, birds, all leading into the cave, but none leading out. The rabbit stopped far from the entrance. "Great lion," he called, "I am here." From inside the cave came the lion's voice, weak and sad sounding. "Come in, little rabbit. Come closer so I can see you one last time." "I would love to," the rabbit called back. "What's that?" "I see many tracks leading into your cave. Deer tracks, monkey tracks, bird tracks, but I don't see any tracks leading out." Silence. "That tells me a story," the rabbit continued. "It tells me that those who entered didn't leave, and that makes me think you're not dying at all. You're eating everyone who comes to visit." More silence. Then a roar. The lion burst from the cave, angry and hungry, but the rabbit was already running. He was small and fast. He disappeared into a burrow the lion couldn't reach. The rabbit immediately warned all the other animals. "The lion is not dying. It's a trap. Don't go to his cave." The animals stopped going. The lion's trick was over. He had to leave the forest to find food elsewhere. The rabbit had saved everyone, not through strength, not through size, but through observation, through thinking, through being wise enough to look at evidence before trusting words. And so all 5 stories are complete. The tortoise who couldn't stay quiet, the merchant who stayed calm, the monkey who couldn't wait, the buffalo who was patient, the rabbit who looked before he trusted. 5 stories about wisdom and foolishness, about thinking carefully, about learning from mistakes, about understanding that the wise person isn't always the strongest or the fastest. Sometimes they're just the one who stops to think. Let these lessons settle gently in your mind as you drift towards sleep. You don't need to remember every detail. Just let the feeling stay, the understanding that wisdom comes from patience, from observation, from listening to good advice, from thinking before acting. The night is peaceful. The forest is quiet. All the animals in these stories have learned their lessons and are resting now. The tortoise is safe in his pond. The merchant is home after his journey. The monkey has learned to wait. The buffalo is cooling in the river. The rabbit is sleeping in his burrow. And you can rest too, knowing that wisdom grows slowly, like ripe fruit on a tree, and that's perfectly fine. Take one more slow breath. Feel how comfortable you are, how safe, how ready for sleep. Good night. May your dreams be peaceful and wise. Rest well.